This is Chicago.
Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the 606 Media Studios, this is the TCSF podcast with Big Z in the house. We got No Sweat Surge, even though he's been sweating for the past 2 hours with his technical difficulties. We got Stevie B from the No Water on the Weekend podcast, and we got JC Dynasty Fantasy Football with his warm hat. Episode 232 is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans. And don't forget to go to no, we're no longer using those people, no longer anymore. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and X, hit that subscribe button. And if it's
smash that subscribe button first of all.
Thank you. If you're on your favorite podcast app, remember to give us a 5-star review, and you can support the show with the monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. Go over there and click on the support button, and you can subscribe for a little 99 cents. Doesn't cost you that much. If you haven't done so, we have a great lineup at 606 Media with obviously True Chicago Sports Fans. We got Impodsicated with Big Z, and we got the No Water on the Weekend podcast. And soon, JC will be launching his fantasy football podcast for all your fantasy needs. Without further delay, episode 232. In this live episode, we're going to break down a little bit of the championship weekend in the NFL. We'll talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, the refs wearing red shirts, they were wearing Chiefs shirts for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really weird.
Really weird. I don't know what's wrong with my TV. We also are going to talk about the Chicago Bears, Benjohnson hires that he's bringing into Halas Hall. We'll talk a little bit of basketball, and we'll wrap it up with some baseball because both teams had their fest here in Chicago. But let's get it started with some championship recap. We had the Eagles demolish the Commanders, and the cheating Chiefs, we want to call them that, beating the Buffalo Bills. And it kind of feels like the 90s where they get to the championship game and continue to get booted out. Boys, what was your impression of Championship Sunday? Go ahead, JC.
I will say this. I put a lot of faith in Josh Allen to, God, please knock the Chiefs out. It did not happen. I am very upset about it. I'm just, I get the Taylor Swift fascination, but it's every play, it's every touchdown, it's every Travis Kelce pass. It's enough.
The dude had 8 yards. What?
He only had like 2 catches or one.
Family 9 times. Like it's enough. That said, as for the other game early on, Saquon Barkley, you beast. What an animal. Just absolutely crushing the postseason, showing what he can do behind a good offensive line, and single-handedly getting the GM from the Giants fired.
That was perfect. I mean, how do you not re-sign that monster? Well, they didn't have an offensive line either, so I don't think that made much of a difference.
Okay. I was saying that when he said that.
Dimes. The whole point is they paid Danny Dimes instead of Saquon. That's the real problem.
Yeah, and he's in Minnesota right now. Or was. I don't know if he's going to be there next season, but he's there.
Nope. Yeah. Yep. Definitely paid the wrong man.
How do we feel about the Commanders, who pretty much should have not been there? Rookie quarterback, Kingsbury coming back to the NFL, and it was like high and low. But it kind of happened to Benjohnson as well. Other teams making adjustments and were able to figure out, a predictable offense. But he did not look like the superstar he did all season.
I think with the Commanders, they did what they were supposed to do, was beat a team that was on one leg. When you have multiple players that are missing on your offense and defensive side, you're going to have a bunch of, because look how many points they threw up. I mean, that game was a video game type of score. So come on, let's be realistic. So the Commanders did what they were supposed to do. They weren't supposed to be in this whole game, but since they did what they were supposed to do, was beat a one-leg team, You got to hand it to them. But next year, I believe they're going to get their butts kicked by everybody because I think people are starting to figure them out as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with the Commanders, it was exciting to see them play. I know Ertz was on there, catching. Their offensive line is great. Daniels can throw the ball, right? A couple balls he threw really low. I think even playing with the Eagles, he started off throwing very low balls. I get it, get a little separation from the defender, but it just seemed like his arm gave out at certain moments. He couldn't really throw it that far down, but he had some great deep balls when he had them. But I just think the Eagles defensive line are going to just push on through. And another thing is, are they going to be able to tackle Mahomes or touch him, or what are they going to do? Because the Eagles are a defensive team that do have sacks. They do get to the quarterback. Are we going to see that? I don't know. But I was heartbroken with the Bills game last night. A lot of shots of Malort, vodka, and seltzers. So today waking up was not that great. So, but other than that, party sub. Did you guys go anywhere?
No, I stayed in for both games. I was doing a lot of running around and some chores. But
I turned it off after it was 30-21. I mean, I had in the background, but I was doing other stuff. But
yeah, there was a couple naps in there during that first game. That second game was a little bit more exciting, a lot more action packed. Even though there was a lot of BS calls, especially I want to say the one where they're on the 1 yard line and then they kept jumping off sides. The Bills did, right? Is that the game with the right? The Bills kept jumping off sides and they kept inching it towards the goal line and said, if you do this one more time, and if you do this one more time, we're gonna give the other team a touchdown. I've never heard of that rule. I've never seen it play out in 35. I'm in my 40s, so about 35 years worth of watching NFL. No, I've never seen that, heard that call, did not even know that existed. And how can you award somebody for a penalty? If you sack somebody in the end zone, then yeah, you understand there's a safety for that. But you can't move the ball anymore. I don't get it. JC, you're the football nerd here. Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of that rule either personally, but the whole point is that in a tush push situation like that, you want, like, the offense already has the advantage. They know when the ball is getting snapped, and they have the advantage of getting off the line first, and then the defense has to then react.
Right.
So it's one of those where I get it. The defense is trying to play smart. They are trying to get off the ball before the offense or at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Hey, we're getting called for offsides because guess what? Pat Mahomes is sitting there going, hey, I know what you're doing, and I'm going to just go, hut, and you're going to jump. Well, guess what? The ball's being snapped on 3, not on 2. So it's a little gamesmanship, but again, it's definitely a rule I've never heard of. That was the first time. But yeah, I guess at the same time, like, you just don't want them, like, for the next 8 plays, jumping off sides. But even the first down at the end of the game, it was so almost clearly obvious that it was a first down, and the refs are running behind players and around guys, and then
didn't have refs synced up. One was in front of the line, giving them Josh a first down. The other one was behind the line, and he had to go around and so forth. And it's like, oh, wait, what did you see? Oh, what did you see? And it's like, dude, the first person to see it, he called it. Let's go. Just keep it moving.
Well, not even that. It also went to review, and I think was a CBS is whoever their former referee is that they go to during the broadcast, even said, I see it as a first down.
Yeah.
So, I saw a funny meme earlier today where it's like the ref going under the hood, and then it's like the voice of Roger Goodell being like, how did you see it? And then there's a gunshot, and the ref goes, I see it your way now.
Yeah, you also had the interception that never was.
Yeah.
You know, the guy intercepted it, and then Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean,
players out
the
it.
Dalton Kincaid pass as well.
Yeah, but the ball hit the floor. If you're not going to call it interception for the defense because it's a 50-50 ball and they both fell down, and the rule of thumb it goes to the offense, okay, great. But that ball hit the floor. He had his hand on it, but the ball hit the floor, which means it's an incomplete pass. It's a problem in the NFL where they have bad discretion when it comes to what's a catch, what's not a catch. And I don't understand how we are not putting some type of technology chip
AI.
sensor on the footballs so that we know where they are at any moment in time, right? Talk to Amazon, use their analytics stuff or whoever, and get that done. If the ball crosses the line, the chain gang, it should light up. Whether it's a 50-yard pass or a 1-inch run, it should light up. If the ball crossed the line of scrimmage, end of story. You just look at back. All right, cool. The light's on. Let's go. It's. I don't think it's that hard of a fix, but the NFL, as we know, is just entertainment. It's not really a sport.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're gonna all watch the Super Bowl, but I think more than America is gonna be watching. Want the Eagles to win. I was debating on buying a Saquon Barkley shirt that I saw in the TikTok shop. So I mean,
In the TikTok shop.
I'm not going to spend that much money because I'm just going to wear it a couple times or around the house. I mean, my dad is excited because he loves the Eagles. I don't know why. He's not from Philadelphia, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I just very disappointed in yesterday's game and the calls, and I'm just ready to see what happens. I know next week's the Pro Bowl, and then
no one watches that.
Yeah,
No
I don't
one
watch it. We're gonna cover it all next week's show. No, I don't know. I just think it's a waste of time, and it's flag football, right? So
Yeah, no, I'm already on the Senior Bowl for the young prospects, seeing what they're doing versus a Pro Bowl.
Poor Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're looking at the Senior Bowl, but how much are those guys actually putting out? Like I think your second and third rounders and going south of that, they're the ones putting in time and effort into those games. Your first rounders, your top 10, top 15, most of those guys bow out. It's like, nah, I'm just going to the draft, and you have enough tape on me, and I'll do a private workout or whatever. That's pretty much what I feel like those guys are. So how much information are you getting for those top 10, top 15?
Oh, the top, like first round, top 15, you're really not from the Senior Bowl, but you're getting those, especially like the Bears. The Bears have 2 second-round picks.
Yeah.
You can find some of those guys in that second round range where it's like, hey, some of those guys that we had hoped would be there for the Bears in the second round, they go to the Senior Bowl. Next thing you know, they're pushing up into that late first. Yeah. And they may not be there for the Bears anymore. And some of those guys that decided not to go to the Senior Bowl end up falling out of the first round. So it's definitely one of those where, a guy can really raise his stock at the Senior Bowl more than, don't get me wrong, you could also hurt your stock. But if you go out there and really show out against other second, third, fourth round guys and dominate, that's where you make some money.
Yeah, very much agreed. Boys, do we have? I'm thinking everyone is here across the board is going for the Eagles. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I have my Chief stuff when it was like the first time, like the hat, and then the second time, but then Taylor Swift entered the photo and the picture, and then I'm like, nope, done.
They were a hero so long that they became the villain.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like Green Goblin said in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Yeah, I could quote it, but they'll take too much time, and we don't have time for that.
I do have a question though. How is the Chiefs against the run? Because Saquon is. Look, check it out. Saquon had an opportunity, and I was just talking to JC about it. An opportunity to play for Chicago. So Giants had a crappy O-line as well, and he still did his thing. And this is the conversation I had with the kids: is that when he if he came to Chicago, he could have created his own thing and did his own thing over here. Supposedly, I always keep saying the offense creates the holes for him to run through and do what he needs to do. I'm going for the Eagles as well. I do like the way Saquon Barkley's been doing his thing. Jalen Hurts hasn't been doing too much, but he'll throw one deep ball and it changes the whole perceptions of the game. So it's cool. So, but my thing is that we had an opportunity to snatch Saquon Barkley for $4 million more, and we didn't want to do it. Why not?
Offensive
Ryan
line, I
Poles-
think, also.
Yeah, but also I think Ryan Poles has dropped the ball on a bunch of free agents. Well, as far as signing them, he could have signed offensive linemen. He could have signed Saquon Barkley. He could have, he could have signed a bunch of people, and he just didn't. He went after Swift. He went bargain basement hunting, and that's what you got. We can't
Well,
be losing sleep over that. It is what it is, and it's like we got 60 something million right now in free agent money, and we got a good load of draft picks. So this is going to be the draft that decides if he's going to stay here or is Benjohnson going to pick his his own GM.
And that's my thing, Mr. DeLeon. We did not pick the best running back from free agency. We are looking at the best running back doing his thing right now, still in the playoffs, headed to the Super Bowl where he belongs, and he's going to show the hell out because right now the GM for the Giants is gone for making a bad decision. Like, why did you let this man walk? You should have kept him. So we did not pick up the best. So you think Swift is the answer? The hell out of here, man.
He wasn't great with Detroit.
No,
I mean,
he wasn't.
or Philly.
Or
No.
Philly.
He's okay, but he's
Well,
not,
here's the problem: is that football is now becoming Moneyball. It's you have a position devalued because the running back is not the running back of the 70s.
Yeah,
70s,
because
80s.
it's right, because it's a throwing offense now. It's not so much a running offense. But what ends up happening right now is that
80s and 90s, where
there you go. He's back or not? There you go. You froze up, JC.
Yeah, I know, and I have full service. I don't know what's going on with my internet today, unfortunately.
It's
but
been
yeah.
weird lately. I had issues the other day because I didn't pay it on time. So
That might be the reason, sir.
it was set on auto pay, and I don't know why it wasn't anymore. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, like I said, I have, according to my internet, I have it popped up right here. I have full bars. I don't know why I'm being dropped. That said, but you have a position that, they are paying guys 12, 14 million. And the guys that are Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and, Saquon, like the top of the top. And we've seen it's kind of been a resurgence of the running back this year. Where in years past, it's been more of a passing offense.
Mhm.
Now, I'll also say you don't have the veteran quarterbacks that we've had in the past, where Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, all these guys retired. Now we have younger quarterbacks and unfortunately quarterbacks that are not panning out. So you're kind of seeing a reversal where the running game is becoming way more important.
Yeah,
it is becoming more
it's like
fun. You saw it
reinventing
this
the
weekend.
wheel. Yeah, it's like
Sorry.
reinventing the wheel because running backs used to be like we used to have halfbacks, right, and fullbacks, and we don't really see that much from the running backs except when it's let's get to the 1 yard line and then run it in, or or it's what they need 1 yard to get to make it 1st and 10 again. So running backs were not being used as much as they're being used now. Like and I know DeLeon is just putting satire out there. So like who wouldn't want Derrick Henry? But these running backs these days is actually being used the way we had them in the 90s where they were making these big plays, and they were not being used this way because everybody was so awed with the quarterbacks throwing the ball. That's all everybody wants to see. Oh, I want to see him jack it all the way, like Jay Cutler. Everybody wants to see Jay Cutler throw it all the way down and then throw 3 interceptions to the same guy in one game. We're not going to mention who that was. But we do remember those instances where we had those quarterbacks and they want to chuck it. Now all the younger people want to see, more offense, and they're liking what they're seeing from Saquon carrying the ball and doing what he needs to do. So it's like reinventing the wheel. We've been through down this path before. It's like bell bottoms are coming back. Running backs are coming back in style as well.
The other thing that we have to talk about is that these new quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, are also mobile quarterbacks. Your Lamar Jackson, your Caleb, your Justin Fields. A lot of these younger guys have wheels on them too, so it also brings a different dynamic that they just can't sit on the quarterback because he can run. So then you have a safety valve, or you can pull him, a play action where he's just going to go on a wheel route and come all the way to the other side, and then he's throwing across his body. Boom, he's wide open on the other side because the quarterback is pulling all the linebackers to one side. So there's multiple ways of using a mobile quarterback to aid the running back and vice versa. So that's a lot of things. If you have a good offensive coordinator, you learn how to use deception. You, like Ben Johnson said in his press conference, we're going to be doing a lot of the same type of plays through different looks, or different looks through the same type of plays, just to throw the defense off. So it's going to be interesting. We're definitely we're all cheering for the Eagles. Go Philadelphia. So I know we're all on the same page on that. So let's transition. Go
Just
ahead.
one last thing.
Yeah.
I did see something from Nick from I don't know his last name. He's got long hair now. He's on, I believe it's on ESPN. He brought something up saying that when Kansas City drafted Mahomes, they traded with the Buffalo Bills for draft picks and to move down. If they would have done that, it's like a gift and a curse with the Buffalo Bills. But then, I didn't even know that. But everyone focuses on that the Bears passed up on Mahomes is the bigger picture of that. So I thought that was very interesting.
Man, no matter who you bring behind that O line for the Bears,
no, right?
Why do people?
I don't think it was that bad because Trubisky got pretty well. We got us to the playoffs and went the double doink and whatnot. But it happens.
I don't know. Whenever you go through the alternate timeline, Steven, break through and let us know. But we have no idea what would have been, because Buffalo.
What if?
Yeah, I love Buffalo. I love that team. I love the fan base because they're so passionate and they're very giving to organizations and so forth, like charity organizations. But at the same time, like, I feel kind of sorry for them. Like, the Bills of the 90s losing 4 Super Bowls in a row. Like, that is an impossible feat. I don't think anybody can do that, right? Everyone talks about winning 2 or 3, like right now with Kansas City, but the Bills are the Bills. Like, they just, either they get robbed or they choke in the last minute. What can we do about that? Right. Speaking of choking, right? The Chicago Bears, they've choked enough, and we're tired of that. So Benjohnson has been on fire, hiring and filling in his staff. They'll go through the names. Declan Doyle from the offensive coordinator he's our new offensive coordinator. He was down in New Orleans with the Saints. He was also with Denver. Let's see, where else was he? I think that's all I got on here. But yeah, Declan
he was
Doyle.
most recently in Denver as the tight end coach.
Yeah. So that's your offensive.
For a 28-year-old, he's got a great job.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of the other coach. He wasn't in New Orleans, but yes,
He's never done it before though, which is kind of concerning to me.
Really, I don't think so, because Benjohnson is going to be calling and installing his offense anyway. Right. So he's going to be pretty much saying, "Hey, this is how we run things. I need you to do the day-to-day stuff on the offensive coach side." But as I coach the whole team, but I think, again, we're looking outside the box rather than the same old thing we've been doing over and over with the Chicago Bears. So right now, I am trusting this process. I'm being optimistic. I know No Sweat Surge is not optimistic.
Not at all.
Not at all, right? You can see it on his. He's got the little Puerto Rican lips pointing out, right? We also got Antoine Randall, and if you don't remember him, he played in Pittsburgh as a wide receiver. He's a wide receivers coach and assistant head coach for the Bears now. You saw him in Detroit running down the sideline, celebrating. So he was a good wide receiver. He coached all those guys over there in Detroit. Any comments on Randall?
Go ahead, JC.
I mean, hopefully, he's Amon-Ra, if he was a part of Amon-Ra coming up. I don't know how long Antoine Randall was on the staff with the Lions, but if he had a part in getting Amon-Ra to where he is, I mean, that's fantastic. Jamison Williams has not, unfortunately, been coming along that great, but you got Tim Patrick, you got Sam Laporta. I mean, you got a bunch of guys, in that Lions, wide receiver / receiving group that if he had a part in helping them, that would be great.
Yeah, right now, we got to trust in Benjohnson and BJ, and hopefully that everything on the offensive line is smooth and running. Let's see. What else do we got? Al Harris. That sounds like a familiar name. He's a defensive pass game coordinator. JC, any word on that?
Al Harris. All I know is I remember him being on the Packers. Other than that, don't really know a whole lot about him as a coach. So hopefully, I trust in Benjohnson, I guess.
In Johnson, we trust.
No, you trust, not we. We.
No, I'm saying the three of us, the we.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Make sure you put that emphasis on you guys, because I don't trust none of these guys until I see something. I want to see some real change.
Okay, so when it happens,
change. You're asking for a change. You're getting a whole new set of coaches from all different organizations. These guys all have been players, so that's one thing they do have in common. They've all played the game. No one's, a Madden nerd that just played on the computer and thinks they know everything, right? We have guys that have Antoine Randall won a Super Bowl, so you're looking at something like that, right? Guys who are proven winners, came from winning culture, and now got into coaching. You also have Dennis Allen that's the guy I was talking about. Dennis Allen was is going to be the defensive coordinator, right? So you have Dennis Allen and Declan Doyle as your offensive and defensive.
Looks great on paper. Looks great. Nice.
Yeah,
looks great on paper.
Yeah, it looks like JC
he
dropped out. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think his camera probably overheated or just timed out or something. Quarterbacks coach JT Barrett, former Ohio State standout. JT Barrett has been appointed as the Bears quarterbacks coach. Recent coaching roles. Let's see. I mean, it looks like he's there to provide with perspective, mentorship, and develop, the Bears quarterback, which is Caleb Williams. So, I mean, we've got a lot of hires that have come in. I think that, again, bringing outside looks, outside coaches that actually play the game, coaches who have been in their position for a couple of years, all these things are going to be beneficial to Caleb Williams, to the defense, and to Benjohnson, to get this off the floor, man. There's no way that they should have won just as many games as they did. Definitely is something that we're looking forward to. JC's back in the house. Did your camera drop out?
Yeah. For some reason, it asked me if I want to close out the program. I have no idea what's going on today. I swear.
It's been a technical difficulty kind of day for all of us so far. But we just talked about JT Barrett, and he used to be an Ohio State standout, and now he's a quarterbacks coach.
But my thing about it is like we've had teams that look great on paper, baseball, basketball. Now our Bears have this supposedly great coaching staff that they're building or putting together, with ex-players and so forth. That sounds wonderful. But when we get to the nitty-gritty of things, when the actual season comes, that's when I want to see the change. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm kind of excited because of all the changes that we've been crying for it and wanting it. But here's the problem: no matter what changes we were making down in the past, nothing would change. Nothing was. But it feels like they just did away with everybody and then brought in a whole new crew. So hopefully this whole new crew will make
They needed to. They had to.
I believe
I
believe they're keeping their special teams coach. I think was that Hightower?
I believe so.
Yeah, Israel, no. Matt Nagy can stay over there in Kansas City and hold.
He might win a ring right now, man.
He's just holding pom poms and hamburgers and like keeping them warm.
He's keeping the nuggets ready.
Nagy.
Yeah, he's like he's like the version that I want to be in life. You don't do anything, but you get paid stupid amount of money and you just hold the clipboard. Like that, like that's any dream.
That's all we're hoping for here at TCSF is that we do this for a living and get paid tons of money, right?
Yeah,
that's
right.
The whole idea,
and we do
right?
minimum work, and it just works out.
Well, speaking
we
of
have technical difficulties, and we don't.
No, I'm doing work here. I had to clean. I had to move some stuff around, but no, it's all coming up. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm excited. I am excited. I'm glad with the hires that we have, especially yesterday when we're watching the game. And you get a notification and it's saying that we hired someone new. And that was like the only good news of last night.
The best news that's going to be coming is what players are going to replace who and who's coming in and who we're going to draft. I mean, it's more excitement to come, right? And if we can get some good talent to come here, then that would be wonderful. Because it sounds like everybody, some people want to come over here and say, hey, you know what? You guys are making the changes and you guys might become winners. Might.
Yeah. And I think we talked about that last week with the offensive lineman from Kansas City. Obviously, he's going to become a free agent. Kansas City does not have the money to pay him. So it looks like the Bears would be, first in line to definitely jump on that. And again, they should be knocking at his door at 12:01 a.m. Hey, bro, come here. Get in the car.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking you hostage.
Blindfold on.
No, you don't have to put the blindfold on. Just come on, bro. You're coming with us. You're definitely gonna sign this paperwork on the way there. We're gonna take your ID picture at Halas Hall.
We're gonna get you a nice steak dinner.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some wine in you. We're gonna wine and dine you.
Exactly. The steak's already there. It's prime for you. When you get there, it'll be nice and medium rare for you. Yeah, we're gonna treat you like a king. We definitely.
What was the coach that did it for basketball where he waited till midnight for DeAndre Jordan? He didn't let him go nowhere. He didn't. And then they signed him at midnight. It was for DeAndre Jordan. I remember. He was the coach of the Celtics at the time.
Doc Rivers.
Yes, they all said because DeAndre Jordan was supposed to sign with Dallas. So we need to do that with this guy before the show. We need to do with him all day and his mama because that's exactly what Doc Rivers did. They sat at his house. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to Dallas. You're going to stay right here with us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Bears did that with Julius Peppers as well. As soon as he became a free agent, they knocked on his door.
Yep, they gave him 2 big satchels of money, man. Like, here you go, brother. You just take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he was worth it at some point.
No, he was. He played well for us.
Yeah. So there was a rumor around that Khalil Mack is up and we should go get him. I'm like, no, thank you. He's gonna want more money, and we're not gonna do that. Plus, he's still valuable, but he's not like the player that we had when he was here.
No, just think about Von Miller, Buffalo. That's all you got to think about. Same exact situation. No, he's chasing rings. He's not that good anymore. Sorry. We'll get somebody younger, bigger, faster. Don't need it. Oh, look at Israel's coming in St. Patrick's Day. All right, brother. We'll buy you a green beer. All right. Anything else on the Chicago Bears before we pivot over to a little bit of basketball? No commercial breaks. We're commercial free today.
Ooh, commercial free.
Yeah, commercial free. Yeah, that's because I've been busy. My
internet freezing. It's been like a commercial nonstop.
All right, Chicago Bulls. We have someone join the dunk contest. We don't have an all-star, even though I really do believe that Levine should be considered as an all-star, even if it's just a reserve. He's averaging about 30 points a game. He's probably has some of his best. Yes, I know that it doesn't create a winning culture, doesn't create a winning team, but individually, which is what the All-Star game is all about, individual stats, he is putting up great stats. So let's not, call a rose by its name. It's a rose, right? You also have the rookie join the dunk contest. That's going to be exciting. He's also done it, I think, before in the G League. Hey, I really think Kobe White should do the 3-point contest. Why not?
Yeah,
The
I
whole
mean, that'd be
NBA
fun to
is a
see.
3-point contest. Just let them all join the 3-point. That's all they do is jack up threes, anyways. Who cares? This is garbage, man. Garbage in, garbage out. I'm good.
Yeah, I know that there's still talks about Levine getting traded left and right. He said he wants to stay here, but then there's also, trade rumors that the Warriors and the Bulls have there's a connection where they could trade Draymond and trade Levine to Golden State. I don't know. But
And then Phoenix made that trade with Salt Lake for draft picks so that they can make a trade. Looks like they're trying to trade for Jimmy Butler, but with Jimmy Butler, getting suspended for 5 games this week, I don't know if the trades can go through while being suspended. I don't know how that works in the NBA. I don't know the CBA there, but they're trying to get Jimmy Butler. I'm like, if I was Phoenix, I would try to get Zach LaVine. I would not try to get Jimmy Butler. You need a scorer. You need somebody who's going to take over and is really good at just offense, just straight offense, and that's what he's good at. He's going to put your 30 points up there, and because Kevin Durant isn't playing every game, and your boy Serge, who was it?
Bradley
that
Beal.
didn't score for you? No, Bradley Beal will be probably the piece that's coming back to Chicago.
Booker?
Yeah, Kevin Booker. Is it Kevin Booker? No, Devin Booker. Devin Booker.
I need 2 more points for him to finish my damn parlay. That's a little SOB, man. Ooh.
Yeah.
You saw that picture I sent you. It just needed one more basket. But he did keep trying to chuck up shots, but it didn't work out for us at the end. But here's my problem. And you mentioned All-Star game earlier and so forth, and you said Levine should be in it. Yeah, but when you put this into the fans' hands, Steph Curry should not be in the All-Star game, but since the fans have a majority and he's a global known player, he's in there. You have I believe Fox has better numbers than him. You have a couple other players that have better stats than him. And I know LaMelo's not in the West Coast. He's over here in the East. He still has better stats than a lot of people too. So these are guys who I think supersede Steph. Steph is up there in age, and he still puts up decent numbers, but he's getting older too, and he still can chuck up. But he does not deserve to be in the All-Star.
He's got no supporting cast, so now he's being exposed. That's exactly what's happening. He's got no supporting cast, so he's being exposed. And I think a lot of it as well is that this is LeBron's last year, so they want LeBron and Steph to play together with AD and KD and ABCD. They want all of that. Yeah, and that's the NBA, because guess what? Those are the last players that are marketable right now. The young players are up and coming. They can't move tickets like the old farts do right now. It is what it is. It's at the NBA. And when you leave it up to the fans, this is what you get. But who are you going to leave it up to?
I wonder how many All-Star votes were this year, because I'd like to know if it was a big decline, because I know no one's really watching the NBA. I definitely am not.
Oh, it's definitely a huge
overseas votes too. Don't forget, I think they did like double vote. They do it a couple times in January, where if you hashtag Curry, Steph Curry or whatever, it goes into the votes. So my thing is that he is globally known. So you get somebody like Fox, he's not globally known, so he's not going to get in there. He's got to get in there by the coach's vote, to my knowledge, if that's correct, that they pick the reserves or something like that.
Yeah, the coaches do pick the reserves.
But I wouldn't mind Levine staying. Don't get me wrong. He does put up numbers, and it's just he's one of those players that you watch at the beginning of the season, and he was hurt, and he kind of like, oh, I'll get 22, 23, and then all of a sudden he woke up. But the only reason for me that he woke up is because you are on the trading block. So I gotta up my game. When he did that I think he did 5 games in a row with 30 points. I mean, that's outstanding, brother. I mean, we need more consistency. Now, I'm not saying you got to score every game 30 points. No, I would love it, but it's not gonna happen. And my point is that I like Levine offensively. I wish he'd play a little bit more defense. I wish he could handle the ball a little bit better, because I noticed that he gets his pocket picked a lot. He does. And I sit there and watch these games. Don't think I don't. And then here's the problem where if you move him, I don't want Bradley Beal for him. I don't want I want some collateral where I'm gonna get something in the draft. So I just do the whole damn thing over. Get rid of everybody. Start all over. You got your new little star that's gonna be in the dunk contest. whatever. And I'm hoping for the best for the future because right now this team is below average.
I would
Sorry.
say you trade everybody for
Mhm.
draft picks. Get draft
Sorry?
picks for the next 10 years, all first rounders, and you just stack your draft picks and build your team that way because we know that the Reinsdorf family does not spend big money to get a big accusation, a big player to come in, right? We've seen that. We've been always the pawn in these free agent markets. So I think that wraps up for the Bulls. Unless you want to talk, I mean, I think we kind of touched on Jimmy Butler. I mean, I think that's enough.
Oh, you're talking about the diva? Let me tell you something. When he was here, he was nothing but a little crybaby, and then he cried. Oh, when he goes away, and we all stood behind him because he was such a great player. And I think JC's hit it earlier when we were talking offline. Is that he was in his prime, but now he's still being a little diva. And Pat Riley, he old school. He is not going to play them games with you. He does not care.
He knows.
I'll bench you the whole season. You won't go nowhere.
Yeah, he knows the entire collective bargaining agreement. He's like, oh, detrimental to the team. Oh, I can use this clause. I can use that clause. He is no idiot. He knows how to work the system. He's been, in the NBA since the late early 70s. So he's definitely well versed when it comes to the NBA contracts and all that. So,
but
again,
it's become a locker room cancer. And before he's already been on 4 teams. Am I correct?
Minnesota, Philadelphia, Chicago, Miami. I thought there was one more.
That's 4. This is his 4th team. So he's going to be moving on to his 15th.
I'll say this. I think he would have stayed in Philadelphia if they didn't pay Tobias Harris that money. And then there was a game where he came out and he's like, you're going to pay him? I think he played Philadelphia and they won. The Miami Heat won. He goes, you're going to pay that guy?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think, honestly, he fit great with Philly. I was excited for that.
Yeah. Embiid doesn't have the heart to play.
No.
Another one that I don't understand is like the NBA because it's become, and we talked about this last week, where guys are getting paid millions before they even step on the court. What is the motivation? There's no motivation.
If you go look it up, Michael Jordan said this years ago, you're giving all these players money and all these benefits before they step on the court, and you don't really know what you're going to get from them. And I'm gonna be honest with you, attitude matters too. You can be the glory God's player, but if you got a poor attitude, ain't nobody wants your ass. Let's be honest. Nobody wants you. I don't want you. I don't care if you're a great player, but I don't want you if you got piss poor attitude. I'm sorry.
Not at all.
I will say this. I sent you guys that video from ESPN about the Michael Jordan statue and the shoes being covered. I don't know if that's real or that's fake.
I think that's fake. I think
right. I'm like looking for it on the news. I don't see anything about it. So I think that was a fake thing. So if you see that, don't think it's true.
Don't think it's
true. Don't think it's true. I don't think it is.
You're satire.
I was like, no way. And then I started Googling it. I'm like, I don't see anything about it on WGN, Chicago Sun-Times.
It was put out there for you. They knew. They were like, we got him.
Yep. Nowadays.
Yeah. I was looking all over after I sent it. I was like, I still don't see it. I don't think it's real. Especially it's the ESPN one. I was like, wasn't like a fan. But
Steven's Googling.
Yeah, I was Googling all over. Definitely was.
Googling.
Was.
All right, let's pivot over to our baseball teams, our Chicago Cubs and Chicago White Sox. I wanted to play this, and I want you guys to give me your honest reaction. Let me just play this real quick.
It's so cringy.
Yesterday, I saw a video of Tom Ricketts on TMZ. It was a video from Cubs convention. And before I get into the thoughts, I'm just going to let you watch it.
What's that? I'm the cheapest owner in baseball. Who's your dad? Who's dad?
Now, obviously, I've had a lot to say about ownership this offseason if you've listened to CHGO Cubs. I think fans have absolutely every right, if they go to Cubs convention, if they spend the money, if they give Tom Ricketts the money to tell him he's cheap, you have absolutely every right to do that. And honestly, with how the national media has called him out, Dorks of the Week, Ken Rosenthal called him out again after he said at Cubs convention that they're just trying to break even.
Until owners open their books, we don't know what exactly they're doing, and we'll never know. And they're not opening their books. So when Tom Ricketts, the Cubs owner, comes out and says, hey, we're just trying to break even. Really? I'd love to see evidence of that. I'd love to see how the Cubs are simply breaking even if they're doing that with their baseball operation. And then I would like to see what the Wrigleyville development has meant to their bottom line as well. Because guess what? That's related to owning the Cubs. And there's another point as well with the Cubs, and other teams for that matter. Franchise values have skyrocketed. Now, I know that you don't budget according to your franchise value, no more than a person budgets year to year based on the value of his home or her home. But at the same time, fans are tired of hearing, and I'm tired of hearing, that, oh my gosh, it's so hard. No, you're owner of one of 30 teams in a monopoly. You're doing okay.
He's deserved a lot of criticism. And the fact that they let the first tier luxury tax be like a hard cap for them, considering who they are, considering how much money they bring in, he deserves all the criticism. However, I think if you're a fan going to Cubs convention and you're sending like your 5 or 6 year old child up to get a bat signed by Tom Ricketts, and you tell your kid to tell him that he's the cheapest owner in baseball, I think that's soft. Like, just grow some balls and tell him to your face yourself. Honestly, again, you have every right, especially if you're giving money to the Cubs to go to their own fan convention. You have every right to voice your concerns, your frustrations with the organization. That's why they have those panels. Perhaps maybe just grow a pair of nuts and go and tell Tom yourself. Just a thought.
Tom.
Yeah, that's great.
What do you do? Yeah.
That's
I
Cody
thought it was
from
hilarious.
HGO, one of our friends that's actually been on the podcast. But yeah, there's a lot to digest right there. One, yeah, I totally agree with him. Do not be sending your son to go to tell a message to the owner that you couldn't do yourself. So yeah, grow a pair. Completely agree with Cody right there. Second of all, you're looking at baseball owners who have been getting rich upon rich, 10, 20, 40 fold, and don't want to open the books because then they can be scrutinized for not putting teams out there like the Oakland A's or Tampa Bay or Miami or Kansas City, the White Sox. You can see that they're making money. When they're losing, they're getting CBA money, which means all the money's put in a pot and then it's divided equally. Yeah, that's what ends up happening. So those losing teams like Pittsburgh have been taking in money for years for tanking. So when the Cubs say, biblical losses, well, you invested incorrectly by buying stuff and then you had a pandemic. Boo-hoo. I'm sorry, you billionaire, that you're crying poor. It's been years since the pandemic. It's been years. You continue to buy real estate. And then I'm pretty sure this is what you're doing. You're saying, oh, no, that's part of like a different division. This is my stuff. This is no longer the Cubs stuff. All right. This is not revenue for the Cubs. This is revenue for me because I am buying the real estate. It's not the Cubs. You can't have it both ways, because if it wasn't for the Cubs, if it wasn't for Cub fans, if it wasn't for the neighborhood that was already established there and all the local bars that have been there forever, you would not have any value or any type of interest in buying all the real estate around Wrigleyville. So when it comes to that, yeah, you're a cheap guy just like Reinsdorf. All right. Reinsdorf is the same thing. He's buying property around the United Center to build his complex and have this, concert place and all this cool stuff with the Blackhawks. Do not come crying poor to the fan who's working 80 hours for a paycheck and is unable to go to your games because you priced them out, or your food's $15 or your beers are $15. It's total crap. Open up your books, be transparent. If you want to be a crappy owner, get the hell out. Like he said, there's 32 teams in baseball. There's 30 in football. You're an owner. You're one of one. You're playing Monopoly. You're using Monopoly money. So go yourself. I censored myself.
Yeah. But what happened to wanting to win? Like, I think that's the biggest problem here.
There's more money in losing.
Yeah,
there's more money. There's an interview with Jerry Reinsdorf where he said, you don't have to win owning a team. You just have to get just good enough to give the fans hope, just a little bit. Just stay above 500, where you're teetering on giving your fans hope, so they come in and they think you're going to make the playoffs. And if you do make the playoffs, even better. But if you're doing that,
none of his teams are in 500. None. The Bulls can't make it.
Well, the Cubs
this is
are
an interview
above
from about
500.
8 to 10 years ago. That's what he was talking about.
Oh,
That all you have to do is give the illusion of hope, and the fans will stay there. So again, I don't want to hear it.
Give a woman a ring and give her hope that you're going to marry her and still stay with her for 20 years. Got it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. I agree with Cody what he said. I'm just gonna. I thought it was funny. I didn't go to the Cubs convention because I've never gone. I'm debating on going to spring training at the moment. I have some connections for that. I don't know if I'm going to go or not. I know my mom and my aunt are going, but
there's a connection.
There's a connection, but I don't know if I'm going to go. I was like, it's for 4 days. I'm like,
he's going.
I can. It's just
he's going.
I can't. I need to play Fortnite, and I'm not going to be able to bring my. I'm just kidding. No. I just it is what it is. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed with this. Like, yes, I'm still going to go to the games. Yes, I'm still going to go to Wrigleyville. But the sad part is, it's like we're paying the money.
Part of the problem.
Exactly. But you know what? And here's the other thing that it's not brought up. Marquee Network. How are you not making money off of that? I give you $20 for what is it?
I want to see the
almost
numbers.
Half the year.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. I'd like to know how much you make in Marquee Network, because you have bars paying it. And I also would like to know, is it each individual TV, or how much do you have to, does a bar have to pay for that amount of TVs in there, or you have to get 2 subscriptions, because you're still making money off the Marquee Network. That's another thing.
They pay a flat fee, but it is a large flat fee.
Right. So this is where it's like, it's baloney. You're not breaking even. You're not. You're just, again, like you said, you're, pushing aside what's considered part of the Cubs and what's not. And also probably getting a really good tax break on that too. So I don't want to hear that you're saying you're not making enough money. Like, I give you a lot of my money, what I have, so I'm just like, I don't get it. And I'm going to buy that blue jersey, and I'm going to be the problem.
You are.
Yeah. But the one thing I know in my heart is we're never going to lose 120 something games. I guarantee it.
Whether you're the first loser or the last loser, you're still the loser.
I'll be above 500 loser. I'll be mediocre. Okay.
Every Chicago team is a loser.
Yeah. I mean, I also have to say, like, sending your 5-year-old kid up there to say that kind of thing, like, grow up. I'll
just send Sean.
Yes, you send a middle-aged man that doesn't know nothing about sports.
Exactly. That's not copping out. That's just not knowing shit about baseball.
But it takes a lot of money to grease the palms of politicians to build, parking structures and hotels and everything else, and get things fast tracked to build and redesign and everything else, and put up billboards that go against the community codes and everything else. You got to grease a lot of palms. So yeah, I can see where they're not breaking even. But at the same time, we talked about this last week, where they shelled out a lot of money during the pandemic, buying a lot of property, and then they had a lot of losses because they weren't getting that beer money and the hot dog money and everything else, because nobody was allowed to attend games.
Is that not part of business where you can claim losses, where you can get a tax break?
Sure.
So I don't want to hear that.
But at the end of the day, everyone in the MLB was affected. However, It didn't seem to affect the Dodgers that much. So, what are we up to? $1.3 billion, $1.2 billion?
I don't know.
I love it.
You shut your mouth.
I will say this.
You have a team that wants to spend the win. This is what you're asking of our Chicago team. Another team is doing it, and you're mad.
Baseball. Look at the hat you are wearing.
That's okay.
That is
it's
not
okay.
like I said,
Every one of these teams that we're wearing are losers.
Oh, I'm going to be a Patrick Mahomes fan now. Ooh, forget the Bears.
Go for it.
I'm not a
I've been a Dodgers fan since I was a kid. There's nothing that changed.
There is no second team.
Well, I have nothing against it. Like my second team is the Red Sox, and they ain't doing any better. So it's who you pick. I mean, they're doing it, but I don't know. It's a tough division anyway, especially with the Yankees. But anyway, the Cubs did sign Ryan Presley with a trade, but they had to say goodbye to, Albert Alonso. I can't say him. But yeah, he left.
He's a minor league prospect.
Yeah.
He's very young.
And you know what the number came out? If we want to extend Kyle Tucker, easily extends to $300 million. Are we going to do that? No. We're not going to spend $300 million on one guy. $300 million. Nope. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. It's a 1-year deal.
Tucker's 30.
Yeah, I'm not extending somebody at 30.
No.
I'd do 4 years, but I wouldn't pay him $300 million. I would have to see what he did this year. If he becomes an all-star, if he has a great season, but I don't know.
Those type of players, you sign them for 1 and 2 years or one with an option.
Yeah.
That way you keep those players hungry and they keep chasing money. Okay, cool. You've earned your $25 million. Cool. You earned $45 million now. You keep producing, I'll keep paying you. And you do that year by year. And I really think, to be honest with you, can you imagine if all contracts were 1 year? You know how fast teams would be changing and how fast these teams would be hungry to try to get the best player?
I would say the max would be 3 max if we're going to do that and say what if.
This is, hypothetical, right? Essentially, it'd be like fantasy baseball, right? Every year, all the players are put in a slot. Okay, cool. Even though you had Ohtani and Mike Trout and all these players on one team, they all were hurt this year, and you ended up in last place. You got the first pick. Pick whoever you want, and then just I just think it would make it more interesting if you want to. Everyone's complaining about, we're spending money this way and that way. All right, cool.
No, and that's a fair point because yes, I would. If the Cubs were spending that amount of money, I wouldn't be complaining.
No, but you would cap it as well. Like,
right.
Okay,
but my point being is like. Might.
Yeah,
I'm still upset about it, but it is what it is.
I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about how much money they spend. I'm mad about the defer. Like you're putting these players on layaway. your roster, I think you have about 3 good players that are on deferred. You like players who are not going to pay taxes. It's just insane.
Yeah.
I get the loophole. That's the loophole, but I'm pretty sure someone's going to come by and patch that loophole up because that is insane to defer.
I believe it's 2027.
Yeah,
2027. Expect the lockout. Expect the owners to lock out the players. Expect that to happen. Expect a lot of changes in MLB to happen because they do not want to pay players franchise owning money. 600 million, 800 million. You can buy franchises with that kind of money. And let's not forget that Mahomes got that kind of money too and ended up buying the soccer team and is part owner of the Royals. Okay. So
what are they taxed on something like that? And I know every city, every state has their own tax laws and so forth, but because I can hear some of them saying, well, yeah, I made 600 mil, but then I got to pay my manager, then I got to pay this and I got taxed and so forth and so forth. But that's why I get so mad about the deferment. But what are these players are actually getting versus what they're paying out? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you pay taxes in the state that you work in. So for MLB players, you're paying taxes in every state that you work in. So I need you to understand that because I remember when I was handling the NFL players that I had at the bank, they would get that. They would get the Mr. Taxes like, hey, you played in Minnesota, you're paying that tax. You played in New England, you're paying taxes over there from New England. Jesus, why can't I speak today? You get taxed on where you work at the end of the year. So you let your accountant deal with that. Right. But you also have these knuckleheads that are making big money and thinking that all that money is yours. That's something to I like to explain, to David Terrell and Bobby Wade and Jerry Azuma when they were all, I mean, this is past times. I can say that they were my clients at that point, so I can say that. Watch your money. There's no reason you need 40 grand on a Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. It's just not what you need to be spending the money on, right?
He's open 24/7 somewhere.
I'm just the advocate, okay? I'm just the advocate. I didn't get no cut in it. They didn't, I never got hooked up with anything, but just being nice, doing my job, but whatever. And again, they spent their money how they are. They may be broke. I don't know. I haven't talked to those guys in a very long time, like at least 20 years. So I'm not mad. I just think
there's a first round quarterback that came out and basically talked about his signing bonus, how 3% went to the agent, then 3% went to X, and then he didn't set aside the original money for the taxes. So at the end of the year, he got hit for that. So he basically said, he's like, by the end of it all, my $3 million signing bonus was really about, $750,000 by the time I paid everybody, his agent, his managers, his et cetera, the PR teams, everybody else that he had to deal with.
Bonus is going to get taxed more than your regular pay.
Yep. And that's it. That's the thing. He hasn't even bought a house yet. What we're doing. So I mean, not all
there's Shaquille O'Neal talking about, he was in debt like $1 million after his rookie season because he didn't understand finances at the time. And his financial planner sat him down and was like, you got to get a control because you're out of money. Like you're in debt. So like there's a famous YouTube video about that. So yeah, I mean, most of your look at Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's broke. There is a lot of athletes that go broke because they live a lifestyle, because they have the money now. And then what they don't realize is that money's got to last them the next 30 years. Well, you got knee issues, you have surgeries, you have this. And after you're out of the game, guess what? You're not really covered anymore. So it's one of those where you got a lot of alternative surgeries, which I know the NFLPA and everything tries to take care of that for them, but it's still an expense down the road that, a surgery is going to cost you $5,000, $10,000. Where did you really need that $30,000 Rolex when you were 22?
Nope.
I think that's why they were making fun of please forgive me. I think it was AJ Brown or somebody who rolled in with a $30,000 Honda or something like that. I forgot who it was. I know it was a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. But they always do that.
Yeah, you're making fun of these players, but they're spending. Hey, it's a new Honda, brother. It's probably fully loaded. I ain't got that. So these guys alone, because they're trying to spend their money wisely. They don't need what do they drive now? What do they drive now? I don't know, a Ferrari or whatever.
I was listening to some player recently that was talking that they had their Rolls Royce. They had I think it might have been Caleb, where he was talking about he's got a Rolls Royce and then he's got 2 SUVs over the $6,000 or 6,000 pounds because it's a tax cut. And I believe it was Caleb. I was listening, and I think it might have been on the same Brown podcast. He was talking about, he likes his watches, and he's got 3 vehicles, 2 of which were over the 6,000 pounds for tax purposes. But it's one of those where you got to be financially responsible, because I mean, like I said, where I'm going to work till I'm 55, 60 years old. But I live a different lifestyle than some of these guys. I'm not buying 3 mansions, one in LA, one in, Miami, and one in Chicago, all at $1 million with property taxes and et cetera, et cetera. That's great. But when you retire, you need to downsize hard to live on what you had, or you better be very well set up with a portfolio that is making you a ton of money. Or be like the Kelseys and have a podcast or something where you're making money after you retire.
Right.
Because, like I said, some of these guys,
that post-athlete career is something that but it's also, it's at a 1% of all players, right? So some of the greats can do it and some can't, right? We've seen in the NBA where, some players go on there and they're boring as hell. Baseball players, right? After they play, like, oh, just throw him in the booth. Jesus, the guy has a personality of a broom. It's hard for him to complete a sentence or carry a story, or can't tell a story because it's not interesting. We've all seen and heard those things. Then we have our Shaqs, right, who's been working for TNT, and he's hilarious with Chuck, and you get that nice chemistry. You have Ozzie Guillen, right? He's got one of the best pre and post game show with Chuck Garfien in front of the shows, right? You have those small situations. Can you tell me a good personality that's on the Cubs? And I'm not going Cubs Sox here. I'm just literally trying to prove a point. Who's a notable personality that's on the Cubs TV right now? Can you name somebody?
No one.
No,
Like
they let him walk.
on the Marquee Network, there's people who are past players that I don't even remember who they were. And it's not anything interesting.
Doug Glanville. Okay. No. And this is the White Sox knowing this. You got Ryan Dempster. Okay. Who's actually really interesting, but he's not on all the time. He's not.
He's on there once in a while. Now, if you have players like Ryan Dempster on there, you throw in Derek Lee, you have, who else?
That would cost you money. That's the problem.
And that's another thing. They're being cheap. They're grabbing players or people that are just not great for the job. If you want someone who's not good at their job, get this guy.
Who I used to love listening to, and I think this is over 10 years ago now. Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall, when it would show up on ESPN, Waddle and Silver.
Waddle and Silver. Yeah, that was great radio.
Those two idiots were funny. And you know what? And he looks dry. His personality looks dry, but Jay Cutler is actually a good radio TV personality. He just talks crap, and he'll slide things through that you didn't even realize. Wait, did he just say that? So, and especially when he was with Brandon Marshall in Chicago, the guy was unstoppable when they were speaking on there. And I used to listen to it every day. And I was like, these two are actually funny. And I think they would be on there like on Mondays and Thursdays or something like that. But it was actually interesting to watch. So to get people with that type of personality is really, really hard. Because look at Tom Brady. Dry.
Is he getting better? Is he better today?
I think he's better than Tony Romo.
100%.
I think he's 100 times better than Tony Romo.
I think he's way better than Tony Romo.
Yeah.
I think Tony Romo, I don't like the voice of Tony Romo. I don't like his analysis. I think he's boring. I think Tom Brady has evolved this year to become a way better broadcaster. Is he the number one guy at Fox? No, that should have went to Greg Olson. Greg Olson should be the number one guy.
You know who I like listening to, and it's weird? Matty Ice. He's actually pretty interesting. I think he's on CBS.
CBS.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good. And then I didn't know there was a panel before the 10 o'clock guys. So there's like Mike Vick and some other people. And I was like, I never knew these guys came on. And I started watching don't hate me for that, but like the last few weeks where I would turn on the TV at 9 o'clock opposed to 10 o'clock, an hour before kickoff. And I'm like, when did these guys start talking? So I like watching. Now Michael Vick is a coach somewhere, so they were congratulating him on the show. But he was actually pretty interesting to listen to as well. So when you put personalities that are interesting and that know the game, I'll sit there and listen. And a lot of people are drawn to that. Have a personality. If you bring somebody who's dead as a doorknob, I know we don't want to listen, man. Nobody's going to want to listen.
It's very important for that person because they're a former player. And they also have to be a color commentator. They have to paint the picture. They have to put the color into the picture because the play-by-play is dry, right? The play-by-play, he's calling facts that are happening on the floor, and your play-by-play is putting color to it. Stacey King, perfect example. Came in, right? Worked with Neil Funk, was making fun of Neil Funk being old, and they had a odds couple dynamic. It was great to watch and listen to. Neil Funk leaves, bring in Adam Amin, who's been doing NFL. I love Adam Amin. Another guy who very well traveled, well spoken, from the area, has done so much, and they mesh so quickly, and they have their own little, like, you have to listen or watch the broadcast to get some of those inside jokes.
Mhm.
And that's what you want. You want to be that homer, like, oh, I know what they're talking about, right? Let's be honest. Derrick Rose made Stacey King.
Yeah.
Stacey King.
That's very true. Very
and
true.
Boom, and boom. Now, Stacey King started giving everybody nicknames, became that kind of guy. So it takes a while. It takes a certain personality. It takes it takes a team. It really does. So again, that's
Let's talk about Sox Fest.
really quickly. Sox Fest was a small Sox Fest, in the South Side. I think it was called the Ramona, that theater down there. The pretty cool thing that they announced, they have a lot of giveaways this year, and I don't want to bore anybody with those, but Mark Burley's going to get his statue. I think it's July 11th.
That's correct.
It's going to be great that he's getting a statue. He's still on the Hall of Fame ballot. He still made it with his 7%. He should definitely be a Hall of Famer if you look at the numbers compared to other pitchers. I don't have a vote, but it is what it is. And that's pretty much it. Wrap it up on the Sox news, because
I did like the shuttle buses that they provided.
You mean the yellow school buses?
It's all about managing your money, your financial portfolio, guys. We're just talking about that.
That's called being frugal, because you're building an empire next to the United Center, because they literally just bought out Red Roof Parking, which is they were the auxiliary parking around the United Center. They just bought all that. They bought that church land. They literally, they're buying everything up, and they're gonna put this mega center there. And I'm literally 7 blocks north of it. So
if you want to find parking, park by Big Z's house. We'll charge you about $35 for parking, and I'll go ahead and park them for you. I'm not liable for any damages or dents. But if it happens, it happens. But $30-$40, if you know us, we'll cut you like a $5 deal, or just bring us beer. We like that too.
No drinking and driving, sir. No.
No, if you're parking the cars, then I'm having the beers. Okay. I'll play with your Madden upstairs. But yeah, so.
All right. It's been a whirlwind of an episode. It's
Tons of emotions.
Something new. It throws me off. Yeah, especially like our sponsor was dropped. New script.
I will say this: starting on Friday, and probably Saturday, I will be streaming on Twitch. Yeah, I'll be playing Fortnite. So if you guys are available to say hi for like 10 minutes. I'll be on there.
Are you streaming this 10 minutes? That's it?
No, if you guys are on there for 10 minutes. I like some comments on there. It's just me playing by myself, talking to myself about myself. I did a really good job. I got that kill. Oh, I'm awesome. It's like
I'm a little
but
concerned.
that's pretty much it.
Concerned. I think you need a padded room somewhere playing video games. Going crazy,
this is what I'm gonna be playing. And then I sent some designs for t-shirts. If you haven't already gone to that's a long thing.
Go to 606 Media. There, it's on our front page. You can order some of the new gear that's up there. Thanks, Stevie B, for good transition there. Yeah, go ahead and
so we're gonna have some of those designs sent over and see how that goes. Me and Shauna talked about 2 of them. One of them we're finalizing. We're going to put the actual bottle in front. We're trying to expand the actual image and then putting one that we can on the back and have that. So, and then maybe somewhere 606 on there, whatever, wherever it goes, we'll figure it out. So exciting things, 2025.
Yeah, and there's a merch button. Just click on that merch button. It'll take us to the online store. We have 2 different lines, the original TCSF logo on multiple different items that you can put them on as far as clothing, and then the For the Love of Sports line that I've been working on for a while. So go ahead and buy some merch, support your boys. We're all looking to upgrade our equipment.
Yeah, someone just did, and someone's having internet issues. I don't know why I got booted. It happened last week, and then it doesn't happen again. I don't know.
It might have to do with that setup you got there. That might be XXX over there.
Yeah, maybe. Or the doors close and the internet can't reach it, but the box is right there. I don't know.
I was going to say, I have four different internet connections. I have 4 different internet connections with like extenders and everything else. And it's like, it's just a matter of which one I'm logged into.
Yeah.
You know, like I switched internet at some point during the show, and I haven't really had an issue since. But, you know, like I said, every week it's like, okay, which one's going to work this week? And I never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's a gamble.
Yeah. All right, boys, let's cut it here. And we'll be back next week with another jam-packed episode. Hopefully there's more to talk about with our Chicago sports teams. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the boys who showed up and kicked ass today and have been doing it so for, what are you, 50, 60 episodes at this point, boys?
I don't know. It feels like forever.
I think you're like from like 160 on or something
yeah,
like that.
it was early. It was like, I think the earliest was like 150.
Well, no, it was like 155. I'm gonna believe.
Yeah,
so.
that was it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Check us out on 606media.com. You can find all your podcasts there, whether it's video or audio. You can find our merch store there. Check us out at TCSF Pod on Twitter. You'll talk to No Sweat Surge. He's in charge of the Twitter there. So if you want to argue sports with him, hit him up. You can find us on Facebook, IG, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. It's under True Chicago Sports Fans and then you can hit us up on. I'm discombobulated. Say what the happening to me. You can also hit us up for any arguments of sports or any other stuff you want to talk about, stirring the pot or
what you're watching.
Thank you.
Yeah.
True Chicago Sports Fans at gmail.com. All right, it's time for me to go Mimi's. And for the boys, No Sweat Surge, JC, and Steven, I am Big Z. We'll see you next time for episode 233. 233. And until then, I'm telling you, I'm discombobulated. Until then.
It's okay. You'll be all right.
Yeah, that's right. For the love of sports.
Swish.